It's the Knicks, Jets, etc. podcast with Alex Trateris, John Malika, and Ricey on the beat. Let's go.
Yo, what's good, everyone? Welcome back to another Knicks episode of the Knicks, Jets, etc. podcast. And not with me, as always, my buddy McCoast, my pal, man with the plan, the one and only, the Tricaster 101. Alex is out this week, so I am in unfamiliar territory here, doing a solo Knicks episode. We have Shaun, I Hate Shaun, on. We had him on the last Jets episode, but we also did a Knicks segment. So we cut that up. We threw that on at the end of this. We talked. It was right after the epic collapse versus Dallas. So it was a nice time to talk with him. And here I am after this terrible Spurs loss on this Texas road trip. But I'm not that upset, man. The Knicks are back where we always thought they'd be. They're at 500. I mean, how poetic. They haven't won a game since Alex left us. We went from an 8-game winning streak to a 5-game losing streak, sitting all the way down at the 8th seed. We are just as far back from the front as the back of the Eastern Conference. So it's nice to be at 500, to be honest with you, because without Jalen Brunson, without RJ Barrett, your two signings of this year, I mean, how far do you expect to go in any given game, in any given season, in any given stretch? I mean, nobody knew that RJ was going to be out. Obviously, a freak injury, lacerated finger. It's not just a cut, as Mike Breen and Alan On were mentioning during the game. They mentioned it as more. They said his finger was bent the wrong way. So I don't know. I guess it's a broken finger. So that's what I'm thinking about in my head. I hope he's back soon, but RJ, that's manageable to kind of. It's not ideal as much as, later on you'll hear Shaun got at me. I was kind of gave some slack to RJ for his last season, but he pointed out, Shaun shot me down real quick, pointed out how well RJ did, especially as a 21-year-old. I was just more disgusted with the overall team, and then we extended him. And then this year he played terribly, and then he had that really good 12-game stretch, right? And he was cooking. And we're ready to go, right? Maybe he just had a slow start. We called him Mark to Share. He just had a Mark to Share a month. Maybe he's just slow to start, and he was getting it together. Unfortunately, freak injury by Luka. On the same day, he gets 60, 21, 10. I feel like I'm in that show Lost where they're just like repeating those numbers. 60, 21, 10. 60, everywhere. That's just like I've seen those numbers everywhere. People are texting me. I see it everywhere now because of Luka. It's unfortunate, but again, I'm not too disappointed because we can make up for RJ, but we can't make up for no Jalen Brunson. Leads our team in assists, leads our team in offense, like just in general, because we all know the isolation basketball, lack of game plan offense that Tibbs runs, and when you don't have a point guard who is drive to basket first, it's impossible to win. So I love McBride. I love how he's able to manage these games right now. It's not his fault that he was exhausted at the end of the fourth quarter and into overtime versus Dallas. It's not his fault that Tibbs didn't sub him out. He's been doing well in his role. What more can you ask for from a player who was literally in the G League last year? It's he's good, but he can't make up for Jalen Brunson. So we're at 500 here. It's not as bad as it seems, even though you know this is the Knicks, Jets, etc. podcast, and I find it hilarious that the Jets season and the Knicks season are almost completely identical this season. Low expectations for both teams going in. Started really slow for both teams. Hit a hot streak and now just fell right off the cliff due to injury, honestly. Of course, some ineptness by Zach Wilson, but that's a different story. The Knicks are in a really good spot right now. I'm not even trying to be like the optimistic, glass half full guy right now, but without Jalen Brunson, without RJ Barrett, I mean, that's $200 million. Like it's tough. And then when you have competitive basketball without them, like that has to excite you just on the surface. Now, when you get a little deeper into the weeds here, we start talking about these games. Emmanuel quickly. I mean, I'm glad he's playing these minutes. He definitely deserves a spot. But going 1 for 10 from 3 against Dallas and then going 5 for 12 versus San Antonio. I mean, it's not the best 2 games he's ever had. 12 for 27 from the field. It's all right. 36 points, it's fire. 7 assists, 7 rebounds. I mean, picked it up just after 1 game and really proved that he can take over a bigger role. Like 51 minutes, 43 minutes. He's never seen that before in his life. So I'm really proud of the way he played, especially versus Spurs, and especially being able to pick up from a pretty bad game in Dallas, if I'm being a little honest. Mitch Robinson was an absolute force versus Dallas. Absolute force. You could have had a conversation that he's top 5 center in the league when you're watching the Dallas game. When you watch a San Antonio game, you think to yourself, okay, this is, a typical Knicks center. Goes from 8 of 9 field goals, 16 rebounds, 20 points in 36 minutes to 28 points, 0 for 2, 6 rebounds, 0 points. Unfortunately, he had a bad game. He's been doing so well. It's really about stacking games for Mitch. We know he can do it. It's just about stacking them. So shout out to Mitch for showing us that he's capable in Dallas. It's not that I'm just frustrated that he didn't come out with any energy, any juice today. But I'm more frustrated that Sims doesn't come in for him. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay for Mitch Robinson to have a bad game. But what's not okay is that you're going to sub in a power forward in for him, and when we have a bona fide center waiting on the bench. And this is coming right after Tibbs was what's a good word for it? He's just being a weirdo. Like he's being a weirdo with the rotations. I mean, talk about stubbornness. You see JaVale McGee come in for that last play just for it to get a rebound. Why aren't you subbing Sims in? Like Grimes is there. Just put Sims in. The guy jumps. He tries to hit the top of the top of the glass for every rebound for no reason. Just sub him in. He'll get the rebound. At least he'll tip it. He'll do something. Like, why aren't you subbing him in? But even before that, like I mentioned McBride earlier, there was no reason to not take out McBride. I mean, he was amazing that he hit those 5 out of 6 free throws. Kudos to him. That was more than I expected. To be quite honest with you. But you couldn't just sub in D Rose for a little bit when McBride he had no legs. I really don't get it. And then with RJ out and Brunson out, you don't even look at Cam Reddish. And then I mentioned again, as a little note, we recorded after the Dallas game. I was talking to Shaun. That's coming up later here. I was talking to him about Evan Fournier. I told him, go watch the overtime. Evan Fournier just wouldn't sit down. He just wouldn't. He was right. He wasn't in the corner. He wasn't at the edge. He was in the middle of the bench, like right in eyesight. And he was just standing up the whole time. He's like trying to make eye contact. Like, dude, how are you not playing me right now? Our players are not even running up and down the court. We just blew a 9-point lead in 33 seconds. That felt like it took an hour. Luka had 53 points going into overtime. Like, you can't make a sub, dude. I'm right here. Just play me, like, please. And I was joking around about it, and we were being a little facetious because, first of all, Shaun dislikes Fournier, but also as a basketball player, but also he hasn't played at all this year. So it was just like almost like, as our video producer Greg likes to call him, just being a crazy person or like putting on that tinfoil hat. It's just like, oh yeah, John, sounds good. You're talking about Evan Fournier because he's standing up, like you're just making something out of nothing. All of a sudden, today versus Spurs, who comes in off the bench, plays the most bench minutes on the New York Knicks today? Evan freaking Fournier. I mean, that's why it's not even I can't even say it's stubbornness. With Tibbs, it's just weird. Like it's actually just weird, and it's not the same old story with Tibbs being stingy with minutes. Now that I'm saying it out loud, I guess it is, but it's just he's overcorrecting. Like he messed up versus Dallas. Okay, like I don't even think it's a question that he messed up multiple times versus Dallas by not making the proper sub for McBride, in my opinion, in overtime, for not adjusting and making proper subs with RJ, freak injury out for the game, and with not subbing in Sims. Just on the surface, he messed up. He had a bad game. We had the worst loss in NBA history. The stats are all out there. The numbers are out there for Luka. The social media is going crazy. Everybody that's listening to this, their phone blew up because of it. Everyone's pissed off because of it. I'm with you. Like I'm totally with you. I'm sure Tibbs wanted to forget that game, but he's on this Texas road trip. We're on a 4-game losing streak now at the time. And he overcorrected. Evan Fournier playing 17 minutes. I mean, he had a great game. He had a great game for honestly what do you want the guy to do? Like he hasn't played all year, coming in, going 4 for 6, 1 for 3 from 3, 2 rebounds, 11 points, most minutes off the bench all of a sudden. I mean, not bad. You give him his props, but on the other hand, this means that Cam Reddish is never, ever, 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 ever going to play again for Coach Tibbs and the New York Knicks. This is never going to happen. It's impossible. If you couldn't play these last 2 games, if you'd rather not even split Fournier and Reddish, you'd rather play Fournier 17 minutes. I mean, sorry, Cam. It's over. Cam Hive, just hang it up. He'll probably be on Dallas and do well. Something like that. Or probably Lakers because he's clutch. But yeah, Reddish is done here. The D Rose looked terrible today, and this is like where someone would say, "Oh, look, I told you so. This is why D Rose wasn't subbed in for McBride." It's just different situations. Stop painting things with such a large, over wide brush. It's silly. he he being Tibbs overcorrected, and I don't want to say he lost this game, but if I ever see Hartenstein come in for Mitch Robinson, I feel like you're tanking. Like at this point, I feel like you're tanking. Hartenstein is a power forward, is a backup power forward at best. I don't understand what anyone else sees. Fournier, listen, this is going to be a tough sledding without RJ. I wonder how the fact that I don't know if it's just me, if you're learning now, if you guys knew before that lacerated finger by by a nail meant broken finger, like that they were talking about today. Like that's news to me. I feel like RJ is going to be out to the All-Star game. Am I being crazy here? I haven't read anything on it. I don't know, but that's going to be tough for us as a team. But I feel like we'd be able to get over it. I haven't mentioned it at all this episode, and honestly, that's my fault because the New York Grimes, Quentin freaking Grimes, man, terrible game versus Spurs. It's a terrible day for me to go off on how much I love Grimes. 1 for 10, including 1 for 6 from 3. I mean, not great, not great, Bob. But he is the reason, along with Quickly, that would be able to make up for RJ's absence and not have to use Fournier or Cam Reddish. He absolutely killed versus Dallas. 48 minutes, 12 for 25, 7 for 16 from 3, 33 points. I mean, 5 fouls for him, 5 fouls for Quickly, 5 fouls for Randle. That was a dogfight, man. Quickly nabbing the 15 assists versus Dallas. 13 points, 15 assists. You gotta love that, man. You gotta love that, especially when he's 1 for 10 from 3. He's still getting it done. I can't get out of here without mentioning Julius Randle. I feel like he's on his like I told you so tour. I feel like him and Geno Smith maybe have some similarities in some weird way, even though I don't really trust Geno Smith, but just in the sense of like the media where he is on this tour right now of absolutely killing every single game and nobody's talking about it. He's taking over for this team. Again, no shot to Obi, but if Obi was here it's starting instead of Randle, we shipped out Randle like everybody wanted to, this team would have 3 wins. I mean, he is a catalyst. Every single game, every single first quarter, every single first half, another 20-point first half. It feels like it's every single game. And then where do we blow the leads? In the fourth quarter. There's got to be something there. There's got to be some sort of correlation there to Julius Randle. So shout out to Julius. He's back. 29 versus Dallas. Tough at the end. That he should have had a better second half. He owns Dallas. 41 versus San Antonio. Not bad. But IQ with the 36 is insane. 36, 7, and 7. I mean, boy is balling. Knicks are fine. 500. Just what we always thought. They're gonna bounce back here. Dallas just smacked Houston by 15. Same day that we lost to the Spurs. Now we're playing Houston. Next game, New Year's Eve. We're gonna beat Houston. By the way, we were favored in this Spurs game by 5, which made no sense, but also I feel like that hurts a little bit. And I feel like everybody pushes that narrative. Like everyone knows that they're favorites, so they start acting like they're favorites. And then this game hurts. You know what I mean? Spurs are nice. Knicks 18-18. We'll go into the new year at 19-18. I like that. After that, we have the Suns. a little January 2nd matinee. Everyone's off on that Monday to observe New Year's Day. I don't know what that means. But we have off that Monday, thankfully. 3 o'clock? That's weird. It's a weird start. No Booker. That's good for the Knicks, but I'll be there. I'll be at that game. I'm not sure what the vibes are going to be like, but we'll see. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of kids because of break. It's the last day of break. We'll see. Hopefully hopefully the vibes are immaculate because without Jalen Brunson, this team is going absolutely nowhere. We can't win games. We can't close out games. We can't control the tempo. We can't get everyone involved. He's our leading assist guy. He grabs boards. He gets clutch threes. He's a coach on the floor. He could take the ball out of Randle's hand when that needs to happen. The only bad thing he does is he doesn't allow IQ to drop 40. That's the only thing. That's the only bad thing that Jalen Brunson because he holds the ball a little bit more. So IQ can't drop 40 every game. That's the only negative to Jalen Brunson. But you see what this team is without a point guard, man. Without a point guard, this team is going nowhere. Without a point guard, this team can't close. That's why Jalen Brunson's worth it. Jalen Brunson, he's that guy. He's the future of this New York Knicks team. And he's a cheap contract already. Honestly, what a bargain. So hopefully Jalen Brunson's back for this New Year's Eve game. Regardless, we are going to beat the Rockets because they stink. He has to be back for the Suns. He has to. I wonder. Tinfoil hat. I wonder if there's a little showcase here because I know there was a little rumor about Jay Crowder. I wonder if there's a little bit of a showcase game. A little curious. Maybe Crowder gets in there. Maybe whoever the Suns are interested in, the feelers go out to the Knicks and they end up playing those guys. Comes from the front office. I mean, anything could happen with this rotation. It's super weird. But if Cam gets in there or something crazy happens versus that Suns game, that'd be absolutely hilarious. But Rockets is a win. If Brunson is back January 2nd, which he was holding his hip on Christmas, and then I'm surprised it wasn't mentioned enough until a couple of days later, until he's finally out. But I feel like he's going to be back for the January 2nd game. Revenge game versus Spurs on January 4th. That's a win. Going to Toronto, January 6th, my Christmas Eve, Orthodox Christian Christmas Eve. Same day as a college final. Same day as maybe. Well, definitely one NFL game. It's going to be 2 games that are flexed. Could be the Jets Dolphins. We'll see how that goes. January 6th will be a crazy night. If Brunson is back here, I'm going to go 3-1. We're going to beat the Rockets. We're going to beat the Suns. We're going to beat the Spurs. And then we're going to go on the road to Toronto and lose to Nick Nurse because Nick Nurse owns us. Nick Nurse owns the New York Knicks. He's 11-3 versus them. This is going to be 12-3 versus them. Sometimes there's nothing you can do. Our coach is limited. I think I finally came to that realization. Our coach is limited. He has his positives where he's able to make this team look like an actual defensive juggernaut. That's insane. I can't believe how when you like take a step back and you see that these guys are defensive machines sometimes, and that's how they're winning games. You're like, oh, okay, this is coaching. But then when you look on the other side of the ball and you see the isolation, that's pretty consistent throughout his whole career with the point guard just ISO ball. When it's pretty consistent that there's no real offensive game plans, when it's pretty consistent how he plays the pick and roll on defense and how it's just easier to pick him off, and maybe that's why he's not always the most successful in the playoffs. And just that there's always some funky thing going on with rotations and Tibbs. We knew it coming into the season. I mean, not this season. I mean, we did know it coming into the season, but we knew when we hired him that was the whole thing. But we thought, it was because he runs players into the ground. I mean, I guess that's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is he just doesn't play other players, And it looks like he's overcorrecting now, which really scares me, to be honest with you. This is the first moment in time where maybe I'm starting to look for the panic button. Just starting to look for it. You know what I mean? I'm just like, yo, where is that panic button for the Knicks? I haven't seen it in a while. And now I'm starting to, but not for the actual team, but for Coach Tibbs. Because he's coaching desperately. That's what it feels like from my perspective. Just the last two games. It's not because of the collapse. It's not because of how it happened. It's not because Luka danced like a weirdo when he scored that. Just the total elation, which is cool, but what a weirdo with that. One of my favorite players, by the way. It's going to be interesting here with Tibbs going forward. But that wraps it up for this solo pod of mine, the Knicks, Jets, etc. podcast. Stay tuned for Shaun and I, a little bit of video producer Greg. Just chop it up on the Knicks here. Make sure to like, subscribe to our YouTube, Knicks Coming, Jets Coming, etc. period, if you're watching us. Hit that like button, subscribe for us, leave us a comment, it helps us out. Also on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Google Play, wherever you listen to us, we appreciate you. Like and subscribe for us, that'd be great. And hit us up. Jay Malika, Tricaster 101. And then we have Winning Picks Weekly. If you're gambling on college games, if you're gambling on college bowl games, if you're gambling on the NFL slate, we have Winning P Weekly on Twitter. Winning Picks Weekly is also a playlist on Knicks Coming, Jets Coming, etc. period YouTube. Chip Murphy 7, me, Greg, we're on there every week. We'll see you there. All right. And now, a little bit of Shaun from the Knicks Wall. Let's go Knicks. Moving on to what's really breaking our hearts right now, and what we're really trying not to think about. And it's really the exact earlier in this episode you were describing the Jets season. You literally were describing the Knicks season. And here we are. We're at the bottom. Shaun. Yesterday, I was screaming, and I'm telling you, screaming at my television for the first time ever during a Knicks game because we couldn't make a substitution. Why do we not make a substitution? Why can we not sub out McBride at all? Just at all. He's playing 45 minutes. He's wobbly. He doesn't know what to do. You could see him not moving. Could we just put DeRozan? Like, I have to beg Tips to put DeRozan? Like, what are we even talking about? Like, I know the 60-20-10. I know it was insane. It was a crazy comeback. He's on my list now with Reggie. It's definitely top 2-3 regular season losses of all time. It could be top 5 just all-time losses for the Knicks. RJ got hurt in the game as well with a lacerated finger because of Luka's nails. I mean, just a little cherry on top. Yo, what's the state of the Knicks, man? What is the state of the Knicks, Shaun?
Oh, man. That loss was like, in hindsight, it was almost impressive that we found a way to lose that game. Like, I'm still in disbelief.
You're still post-game pouting.
Still post-game pouting. I just kept saying, like, you got to be kidding me. I think I said that like at so many points. Like when it started to seem like, hey, they might be coming back. When it was like it got a little more real, then it got really real, then it got like incredibly real, and it was just like, yo, like there's no way this is actually happening right now. Like
the McBride free throws feel like a century ago. Like even I don't even remember them when I think back at that game. He had 6 of them in the last minute. We only had 24 for the full game, right? And look at 28 or I forgot the exact numbers. I just know it was pretty close. We had 6 in the last 5 seconds. They were intentional fouls, and that was like I feel like the whole game was going to be. He missed the one. Oh, man. Shaun, what's crazy is I don't even feel like anything bad happened at the end. Like I'm like, where was the like like when I'm just like thinking about it, like is 9 points, 33 seconds. I'm like rolling it back. Where was the big collapse? Like we keep getting fouled. We keep scoring. We keep hitting free throws. Like we missed the one. IQ didn't get that 8-second shot clock. Like what happened, dude? What happened?
We gave up the turnover in the backcourt with Grimes when he picked up his dribble and got double teamed. That was the fastest jump ball I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen a jump ball called that quickly, ever, bro. Like the refs got a little bit involved. I can't blame them because everything I kept saying all day today is that everything comes down to we had a 3-point lead. Luka went to the line. He made one. He had to miss the second one on purpose. We had the ball in our hands. The game was in our hands. Deuce McBride knocks it out of Quentin Grimes' hands, and somehow, Luka catches the ball in midair after it gets tipped out of someone else's hands and redirects it to the basket with the second left, all in one motion.
It was sick.
Like, are you serious, bro? Like, I felt like I was watching a Disney Channel movie, bro. It was so wild.
And the way he jumped after did kind of feel like, yeah, kind of like that Disney movie Double Team. Like one of those girls scoring. Like he's freaking out of his hands.
I love that movie, by the
way. That's so funny. And again, but that's another sub thing. Like, of course, hindsight 2020, but JaVale McGee didn't see the floor all game. They put him in to get a rebound. Just put in Sim. Just put in the guy who touches the top of the backboard every time he goes up for a rebound. Just put him in. Why can't you make that? And Shaun, I know you watch basketball of all ages. I know you're involved in basketball of all ages. Why won't anyone make a sub, dude? Why is it illegal to make a sub in overtime? Like I have to figure this out. Like this is like my until the day I die, I'm gonna try to figure out this science project, this hypothesis. Why are we not allowed to make a sub in overtime? McBride doesn't have to play 50 minutes. Like it's okay,
But to be honest though, I want Deuce McBride on the floor over Derrick Rose. Part of the reason we started winning games because Derrick Rose sat down and Deuce McBride started playing.
I'm not saying generally reduce minutes. I'm just saying yesterday when McBride can't run up and down the floor, like he's literally going like this. He just shot 6 free throws. Just put in maybe D Rose is faster than everybody else on the court. Just that second. Like I don't have. Listen, I'm not the guy that complains about Tibbs. I'm really not. I've been giving him leeway the whole time. Julius Randle, amazing game yesterday. Like I've been the Julius Randle apologist this whole time, holding it down. IQ, amazing game. Grimes looks like Allen Houston. It's just
don't forget Mitchell Robinson.
I mean, Mitchell Robinson's the best player on our team. I think everybody knows that. Especially when you talk value, he's the most valuable player on our team because Brunson, of course, is really good. RJ has a contract; he's not of any value. Randall has a contract really not of any value. But Mitch, what he brings to the floor plus his value, and that little post up. You saw a little post up yesterday. You know what I'm saying? He could do it. He could do it, man.
I got sealed, turned over the shoulder. I was like, hey.
The only thing is, dude, what's with the arc on the free throws, man? Like he shoots free throws like my middle school CYO team. Like just like a straight line drive into the hoop.
He's launching them, man. Like he's launching beelines. It's crazy. And it's wild when they go in. But
I'm very shocked every time they go in. I'm gonna be honest.
I would like to see some touch on those though. I would. It's just unfortunate when he goes to the line. You're kind of like, all right, man, give me one, please. But I'm starting to feel that way with everybody lately. Like, give me one. Like,
I know. So okay, real quick here, we got the Knicks on this little Texas road trip. Spurs, Rockets. Are we winning those 2 games?
I believe that we are. I'm interested to see what we're gonna do, seeing as we don't want to play half our bench, and RJ's out for a week, unfortunately. So I want to see what we pivot to now, like how we're gonna manage the minutes. But I think we should be able to, for all of part of what's the worst thing about, and it's, I guess it just goes to speak to the state of the Knicks. Part of the worst thing about last night's game is not that we lost it; it's that it was gonna be such a good win. Yeah. It was gonna be such a good win. Starting point guard out right before the game, RJ Barrett gets sliced in his hand and doesn't get a foul call, which is nuts to me, but gets his hand sliced open 2 minutes into the game, and
Nobody
you got to
touched him.
figure it out on the fly. And right, his hand sliced open, but he didn't get touched. Somebody, I feel like the NBA should mandate fingernails. Like, you shouldn't be able to just have somebody out for a week because you didn't clip your nails. But like, with all of that, like, just getting the performances we did out of guys, being able to pull that out on the road, like, despite all the adversity and stuff like that, it was going to be a really great win to celebrate. We're going to be able to talk about how we got a great game from Mitch, a great game from Julius, what we saw with the usage from Quentin Grimes, Emmanuel quickly playing the playmaker we needed him to be. And so all of that was taken from us in 30 seconds. And that's a crazy thing. And so we won eight in a row. We've lost 4 in a row. And the 4 in a row that we've lost is kind of like the same thing with and I've been saying it, and I say it all the time because I know how it goes at the end of the year. And we're seeing it, you see it more in football because every game counts for so much. But it's like with these Jets games where it's like, hey, man, if we don't play that Patriots game, we are comfortable right now in position. And so we're going to get to the end of the season, and blowing that game last night, just that collapse is going to kill us. That collapse against the Bulls a week ago. Like, when we collapsed against the Bulls a week ago, I was like, all right, at least we can't do that again. I was wrong. We did it again a week later, even worse. So, like, those are 2 games where it's like, those are in the bag. Like, Jalen and Grimes go to the free throw line and go 0 for 4 somehow. We fail to rebound down the stretch. And so even the Raptors game, same thing, rebounding down the stretch and free throws. I think that the Philly game we just lost. We got beat in the 4th quarter. But I think that 3 out of those 4 games, and especially 2 with the Bulls and the Mavericks, we're a couple bounces of the ball away from winning 11 of our last 12 or 10 of our last 12. And so I don't want to, have my vision marred in terms of the fact that we're playing good basketball overall.
Yeah,
and so we're playing good basketball, and so I know a lot of people feel the way. I understand as a Knicks fan, like you said, I was on post game powder and I was yelling yesterday. It's funny because people always they refer to me as like a positive Knicks Twitter, that they always positive, and it's just like, bro, like, have y'all not seen me? Like,
yeah, I think it's probably the IQ stuff that you've stuck with IQ this whole time. And you were on the start IQ movement early, and whether it was warranted or not, that's a different story. And then we have RJ, right? You're always a star J. Looks bad for, a whole season. Pay him, max him. You start freaking out. We got to max him. He's our guy.
Whoa. He's never. I can't just let things be said. RJ has never looked bad for a whole season.
I mean, last year was tough. I mean, maybe it was the whole team. Like, the whole team was
25 points a game for 41 games.
Okay, so
that was incredible. When's the last time you seen a 21-year-old average 5 points a game as a Knick?
Well, as a Knick, nobody, but like in real terms, everyone. In real terms, it's a general normal thing. Yeah, he's just
a 21-year-old averaging 25 a game is also not a normal thing.
Okay, I can't think of someone young dropping that right now, but I'm sure it's there. The efficiency is obviously the problem with RJ. This year he had the slump, but you also stood by him. So I'm giving you your props. Like, you're the positive guy. You're with RJ even when he's a little down. You're like, stick with him. You mentioned really quick. I'm not gonna get into Cam Reddish. I'm not gonna get into Evan Fournier. I'm not gonna get into trade season. I'm not gonna get into more Tibbs rotation. Let's just stick with the guys that we know he keeps playing. Do you think the Knicks are gonna miss RJ like going forward, or do you think we'll be okay the next couple of games without him? Like, he'd probably come back for the Suns game.
I would hope so. I mean,
just the next 2. You think we can pick up without him? Because, like, to be honest with you, we did pick up without Brunson, and I was shocked about that, right? And we kind of did pick up without Obi. That was no problem. And I think if Julius Randle was out, it would be catastrophic. Right now with RJ, we blew a huge lead, but I'm wondering what you think about the Knicks going forward a little bit here, just how they're going to look without RJ and without adding anyone to the rotation.
Yeah, that's what I'm confused about. We were able to pick up last night without Jalen and RJ, which is kind of crazy. I'm hoping that Jalen's back. Yeah, Quick was amazing. Grimes was great. And so I think, San Antonio and Houston, we should be able to win those games. I think we should take care of business. I'm not sure where we're going to go to get, I don't think that a lot of people are mad that Tibbs played people so many minutes yesterday. I don't feel that way personally. I think that if you subtract 5 minutes away from all those guys because they shouldn't have gone to overtime, it's not really that bad. Like, it's not that bad that Deuce McBride played 40 minutes in regulation.
I'm not a minute stickler. I don't think it's a minute. I think it's an eye test. I just think when the player is tired at the end, just sub him out. I mean, that's from my perspective. I won't speak for anyone else. I know people are in your mentions and yelling at you every day, and they're stickler for Tibbs minutes, and so you get on the defensive, and I am too. I'm with you. That's why I feel weird being on this side, but it was just like an eye test, bro. It was like, dude, people are hurt. Like, they're tired. Just sub it. Like, what does a tired McBride give you? Like, up until last year, we begged for you to play him. Now all of a sudden you play him, and now you won't sub him out for 2 seconds for D Rose. Like, come on, man.
I don't even know how. Like, and maybe I have to go rewatch it. I don't feel like Deuce McBride was super tired. I'm also kind of proud of the fact that, Deuce McBride went to the line in critical moments and knocked him down for the most part. He missed
5 for 6. Yeah. 5 for 6. He's amazing.
5 for 6, bro. Like, and you need that. Like, guys need that. Whether you're honestly, and I said it on the space earlier on Knicks on One. Like, I had a game my junior year of high school where I got the starting point guard job over winter break. We had a tournament over winter break. I got the job. Coming back from winter break, the backup point guard was in Colombia on vacation. He didn't get back yet. And right before the game in the courtyard after school, the other point guard got jumped. And so now I'm the only point guard on the roster today. So it's like, oh, you got to play the whole game. And so, yeah, I'm tired, but, like, you got to make plays. Like, it's the critical point of the game now. And so Deuce McBride needs that experience. Like, if you want to be able to depend on Deuce, if we're going to go and we want to be a playoff team, we can't put on training wheels when Deuce McBride is in critical situations in December. You've got to go out there and you've got to make it happen. And so this is a night we need you. Show up. That way, in the playoffs, when I need you for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever I know I need you for, you're more battle-tested and experienced. And this is part of what comes with play the kids, play the kids, play the kids. Sometimes you say play the kids, play the kids, play the kids, and the kids play and they blow it. And you've got to go through those growing pains. And so I'm not, I would rather, like, if last night was Kemba Walker tipping the ball out of Evan Fournier's hands to lose the game, I would have been outside MSG with a pitchfork. If Deuce McBride is going to knock the ball out of Quentin Grimes' hands, I got to get over it. Yeah. I beg for these guys to play.
Yeah, it's true. No, it's true. I hope they do play and they play well on New Year's Eve at 7 p.m. in Houston. I'm nervous about that game. I hope the Knicks are okay with it. We also have a January 2nd 3 p.m. game versus Suns. I hope the Knicks are. It's going to tell me a lot about if this team is motivated to win basketball games, honestly. But we thank you very much for coming on the Jets episode of the Knicks Jets Etc. podcast, and obviously have to talk some Knicks. It's been a rough stretch here. We need to be talked off the proverbial ledge. Alex isn't here. Greg doesn't watch Knicks games because he's a Mets fan, so that's enough trauma for him.
Yeah, I just need 45 wins, Shaun. Tell me we're going to get 45 wins on the season. That's my only bet going right now for the Knicks.
Greg, I like that because before the season I said 45 to 50 possibly, and then once we started playing well, like 45 is very attainable. It's very attainable. I think we can win 45 games for sure. I expect this 4-game losing streak hurts terribly, but like with the quality of basketball we're playing, the way that we've gone to the young guys and we've been playing better defense and things like that, I'm pretty confident. I also hope that Obi comes back soon. I'm tired of watching Isaiah Hartenstein play basketball. I'm not gonna lie.
Ship him like what? Ship him and Zach Wilson out with Evan Fournier and Cam Reddish, and don't tell me where you sent them. And I don't want anything back. And I'll take the salary hit. Just take them. Just take them all. I want the empty chairs. But
sign Melo, man.
Oh, I forgot. That was been on my mind this whole time. So I was at the Christmas game. Once they started showing the Melo highlights on the screen, I was like, no way, Melo's here. And then it was really cool to see the standing ovation with his flashy jacket you can spot from anywhere. If Melo's on this team, though, I have bad news for you. Obi's not. We can't have Randle, Obi, and Melo. It just doesn't like. What are we gonna do?
So I understand that. I think that Carmelo Anthony would rather be situational when Obi returns than not be in the league at all. I don't know that. I don't speak to him.
Yeah.
But I think that he'd rather be on a team where it's like, hey, Obi's not playing, so we're gonna need about 15 minutes a night from you, 20 minutes a night maybe. When Obi comes back, you'll be situational, and if somebody gets hurt, we'll need you to come out there and play another 15 minutes again, and be a veteran presence and whatever. I think.
How would Obi feel about that?
How would Obi feel about that?
Yeah, dude. I feel like he's been disgruntled for at least 2 seasons now.
He does a really good job of because I would be disgruntled if I was Obi.
Yeah.
So I think that's why people feel like he is, because it just seems like common sense, human nature. Yeah. But he never really gives that off at all.
Yeah, he's good about it. He's definitely good about it.
And he loves Julius. And Julius is the guy that keeps him from really playing for real. So I think he's always been really good about it. And like I said, I don't think that they would I'm not saying bring in Melo and prioritize him over Obi. I think just right now, like, we don't know. Obi got reevaluated, and they're saying he's going to have to be reevaluated again. So we don't know when Obi's coming back. And so it's like now, somebody has to play. And right now, I don't know what it is. Like you said, I don't care to talk about Cam Reddish, whatever's going on. It became abundantly clear once again last night, he is not going to play. Like,
dude,
no matter what happens, he's not playing.
He could be a fire. Cam Reddish doesn't matter, dude. Cam Reddish not playing.
It's starting to look like Tibbs will get on the court himself before he subs Cameron. So
I felt bad for Fournier. Fournier was like, if you could stomach it, and you are going to go watch that overtime in a bubble, you already know what happened. You can kind of watch it just calmly, just like, just watching overtime. Let me know what you think, and what the Knicks could have did differently in that overtime.
If you're going to suggest putting Evan Fournier on the court when you want to win the basketball game,
no,
I'm going to scream at you.
No, but why I brought that up specifically? I wanted to bring it up. But why I specifically brought it up is because I remember looking at Fournier in overtime, especially at one of the timeouts. He just didn't sit down. Like, and he wasn't in the corner. He was like in a bench seat, and he just stood up. And the whole time I'm like, dude, this guy wants to play so bad. He's just like, I'm just gonna stand here and just wait for the coach to make eye contact with me. Like, yo, it's overtime. These players are dying. We need a 3-pointer. I'm just gonna stand here. Like, just like if you do stomach it, because when I talk to you about subbing, I'm not gonna get, I don't want to get too deep into it again because we're closing out here. But like when I mentioned to you subbing, I'm really not being nitpicky. I'm not talking about the fourth quarter. I'm just talking about winning the basketball game, man. That's why I'm frustrated, man. It's been 4 close games. It feels like the Jets. The Jets 4 close games. The Knicks 4 close games, and we just lost 8. There's just 8 heartbreaks. That's 8 for me. That's 8 hard. That's not 4. That's 8. So it's been tough. I've been getting smacked in the face left and right. We had the USA in there too, like, just sprinkled in there. Oh, it's rough out here. All right, that wraps it up. Thank you so much, Shaun. You guys know where to find him at the Knicks Wall, post-game pouting, Twitter.
Prosperity, post-game prosperity. Put the
post-game prosperity. Sorry. Post-game pouting is what we call each Knicks game, what it feels like for the last couple weeks. All right. You know what it is. Knicks, Jets, etc. period on our YouTube. Like, subscribe there. It means a lot to us. Let us know what you think about this Jets Seahawks game. Let us know what you think about, this is the Jets episode, but if you stayed longer here and you're on the Knicks side, let us know what you think about our epic Knicks loss here. We'll get into the real Knicks episode soon. Apple, Spotify, Twitch, Google Play, Amazon, you name it, we are there. 5-star review. Hit us up. Greg, any last thoughts besides winning P Weekly? We have the College Bowl episode with Chip Murphy. We got the full slate going on. Greg faded himself last week and absolutely killed it. Won in all of our leagues.
I think Shaun said earlier something about, I forget what it was, like losing is just as hard as, I forget what he said, but it reminded me of like me as a gambler, as a losing gambler, being like going 4-11 is just as hard as going 11-4. It's 50-50 either way. It doesn't matter. So I've had a couple 4-11 weeks. Last week we flipped it to 11-4, so it was a great week. I'm happy to be back. Happy to ride this season out. College football episode is out right now. We'll get to the NFL. We'll get to the full slate later in the week, and we'll have that out for you guys. So go check it out. Winning P Weekly on Twitter. Winning P Weekly anywhere podcasts are available. And, of course, we're always on the Knicks, Jets, etc. YouTube channel.
All right. We out.
Thank you guys for having me. Adios.
Oh, it was a lot of fun. Jets, Jets, Jets.
Yes, sir.